Have you ever thought something was minor that turned out to be something really serious? Well, that's what happened to me. I'm Sandra, and welcome to Living It with Sandra James. It started in March 2024. I was in the bathroom 6:30 in the morning doing my regular routine. When I wiped, I saw spots of blood, but I didn't think anything of it because I knew that I had hemorrhoids, and from time to time they would bleed. In a couple days, the bleeding would stop, and then I would just go on with my life. However, in June 2024, it returned, and it returned in the form of a dark maroon blood clot. I was so nervous. My heart was beating fast. I didn't know what was going on. And so I took a picture of it and I went to urgent care. When I arrived at urgent care, I was asked how I could be helped. I showed the picture and said, I think something is wrong. Even with thinking that something was wrong, it never occurred to me that that wrong thing would be cancer. It never occurred to me that it would be anything more serious than maybe an infection in my body, or maybe I ate something that was really bad, or maybe even diverticulitis. So once I got in with the nurse, and she asked me some general questions, she asked me some questions about symptoms that relate to abdominal pain, cramping in the stomach, diarrhea, all the symptoms that relate to rectal cancer. And so I was sharing with her that no, I didn't have any of those symptoms. The only symptom I had was what I was showing on my phone, this picture of this blood clot. So she referred me to a GI doctor. And then I went in about a week later, saw the GI doctor. Once in with the GI doctor, we went through a series of questions related to family history of cancer and questions about symptoms. He asked if there was any excessive gas, if there was any bloating, if there was any changes in the texture of my stool, and if I had felt like after I completed a bowel movement that I still had to go. And again, I was explaining to him, as I did with the nurse, that no, I'm not having any of those symptoms. I just have this blood clot. So he asked me to lay down. I laid down and he pressed on my stomach, asking me if I had any pain or anything like that. And I continued to say, no, I don't have any pain. I don't have any bloating. I don't have any of these symptoms you are asking me about. So he decided that it would be best if I had a colonoscopy. And so he scheduled for the colonoscopy, which I came back in a few days and I had the colonoscopy. But everything went 100% down when I woke up from the colonoscopy and he says to me, we suspect cancer. So I didn't lose it, but I almost lost it. I just put my face in my hands, and I was 100% downtrodden. I confused. I didn't understand. How could I have gone from hemorrhoids or maybe an infection in my system to cancer? And so I just tried to stay calm. I asked him if he could go get my husband, who was waiting in the waiting room. And my husband came in. He shared that information with my husband. And then he asked for me to go and take a CT scan before leaving the hospital, and said that he had taken a biopsy of he called it a mass. He had taken a biopsy of the mass, and that in a few days he would have the result. So after we completed the CT scan, We went back to check in with the doctor to let him know that it was completed. And then he tells me, I have scheduled an appointment for the colorectal surgeon for you. When he said that, I just knew I was going to just pass out right then and there in front of God and everybody. And I was thinking, why would you schedule an appointment for a colorectal surgeon when you don't even know the results of the test? Which tells me that he knew that I had it and he just couldn't confirm it without getting the results of those the CT scan and the biopsy that he took. So when the results came back, which was about 4 days later, it was on my phone on the hospital mobile app that I have, and I wouldn't open the results. I wouldn't even look. I waited until I had the appointment with the colorectal surgeon. So when I saw her, I couldn't complete the rectal exam that she was trying to do because it was so painful. I couldn't take it. I was in there screaming. My poor husband, he was just feeling so sorry for me. He didn't even have any empathy at that time. It was just pure, oh, I just feel so sorry for you, because he was in the room while we were trying to do the rectal exam. And so I had a lot of questions that I didn't even ask because I was just totally distraught and totally thrown off and totally dismayed and confused about everything that was going on. I am going to have to just tell you, if you ever experience any type of symptoms in your body, even if you think it's minor, check with your doctor, because a lot of times we can mistake something for something else and we won't check in. And early detection can absolutely save lives. I will come back and share more of my story. I will share how my diagnosis came about and how it was narrowed down from colorectal cancer to absolute rectal cancer. And I will let you guys know more about, the process as my story goes along. But I want to thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And if this video was interesting for you, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.